Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is doing well, enjoying the sun wherever you are, if there is sun. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a very exciting webinar today about all things TikTok SEO. But in the meantime, while we wait for a couple more people to join, I'll do a little bit of a background into us, an intro, and just say that yes, this webinar is being recorded and it will be shared with all attendees and anybody who wasn't able to make it as well. So keep that in mind if you have to hop in and out. Don't worry about missing anything. We will be sharing this as well as the slides that Sam will be walking us through in a little bit. But before we jump in, for anybody who's new, welcome. For anybody who's not new, welcome back. We are Nonsensical. We're a TikTok marketing agency that that helps brands get impact on the platform, whether it's through organic social media management, content creation, paid management, TikTok shop activations, influencers, basically anything TikTok does, we can help you with it. But today we are going to be talking about all things SEO and how to make SEO work for you on this platform, help to drive more views, more engagement, all of the above. And Sam is our resident expert on that. For myself, I am Lena, the head of growth at Nonsensical, and Sam is.
I'm the Chief Content Officer, one of the co-founders of the business as well. I've been working in TikTok since TikTok was a thing for brands, basically, for at least 5, 6 years now. I know it was around a bit before that, but I've been working in social for over 10, 15 years as well. I live and breathe TikTok. I spend my days just looking at what all brands are doing across the world. I live in Germany myself, so there's a lot of German brands I look at. And I also used to work in SEO back in the day, so I love the integration of SEO and TikTok and how that all works from here. So I'm super excited to take people through what we know about TikTok SEO and how it can work for you in 2025.
Absolutely. And I have just enabled the chat. So if people can just start popping in a hello, let us know where you're calling in from, just so we know, and maybe even what talk you're sitting in, just as a little icebreaker. And let's just make sure that this chat is working so that people can ask questions that they want to ask.
What talk are
Todd
you in,
Smith?
Melina?
Ooh, okay. Well, right now I'm in Usher Talk because I went to the concert last night and it was so good and I'm just reliving all my memories through that. So definitely quite the throwback, but it was really fun. So thank you, everybody. Oh, also guys, just I'm seeing right now that the chats are coming through. Thank you so much. If you can just make sure that when you're sending it, there's a blue little toggle, and if you click on it so that you can send your messages to everybody, so everybody is involved and can chat, that would just be really helpful. And feel free to pop your questions into there. We also do use the Q&A function, but we'll be monitoring all of that. We have Christina who's joined as well. She is a member of our team. She'll be popping in relevant links throughout and resources as well. So just keep an eye out from her. But without further ado, I will just repeat once again that this webinar will be recorded and shared with anybody who is here and has to hop off and anybody who has not been able to join today. So if you have to run away, we understand people are busy, live your lives. But from here on out, let's just get into TikTok SEO. Sam, what you got for us today?
Let's go. Right, I'm going to share my screen and we've got quite a few slides to go through. There's only so much that I can take through in one call and also have Q&As and stuff like that. So it's as comprehensive as we can make it, but we have more for this as well to go over in another day. So can everybody see this? Yes, you can all see this. Absolutely. Please tell me, Melina, if not, because I cannot read
No,
what's going on in the chat. So
I see it, and everybody is saying yes at the moment.
woo woo, that's great. Thank you very much. So TikTok SEO in 2025. I've got a question for the chat that I'd like people to just answer and Melina to have a look at as well. But it's who has a TikTok SEO strategy for their brand that they work on, or their agency that they work with, or actually for their own account that they do stuff? Who has a strategy that they're actually doing stuff in? That's a standing question, and I'll be interested in how that looks down the line. So don't need to come back to that, all right? But that is the interesting thing because I am interested really in how many people actually have a strategy because a lot of the brands that we speak to, it's something maybe that's on their radar that they should be looking at, but it's typically not something that many brands have really thought about because quite often TikTok sits with maybe the social media team maybe it sits with PR, maybe it sits with digital, whatever. It kind of can sit in all different places. But SEO traditionally kind of sits in like its own area. Sometimes it's in content, it's in web, it's in different areas. But actually on TikTok, TikTok's both like social, e-commerce with TikTok Shop, live streaming, and then you've got SEO underpinning everything for how your videos get found. And it's such a weird skill now if you've worked in social media to have to integrate into everything. So if you're not thinking about it, we hope this can convince you that you should be thinking about it. So let's get into it. Because what the fuck is TikTok SEO, right? Let's start at the very, very top. And I love this dog because it's got a little purple wig, and that is our little brand color. So TikTok SEO, obviously, is getting your content to appear when somebody searches on TikTok. Right, kind of that is the fundamental aspect which comes down to it. Standard SEO is getting your content to be found on Google, right? Search engine optimization. But this is how do you get your content found on TikTok itself. Why? Because people use TikTok as a search engine. A lot of people probably have heard this so many times, but I think it's important to reiterate. Gen Zs use TikTok for search like nobody's business. 74% of Gen Zs will use TikTok to search. And that's the same for millennials. 49% use TikTok to search as well. I am a hardcore millennial. I use TikTok instead of Google. I'm probably at the moment my searches go from either TikTok, ChatGPT, and then Google at the bottom if I can't find anything on those two things. And if you're going on holiday, if you're looking for recommendations, if you're looking for things to do, it's like a primary search engine for a lot of people. And then I think a really interesting stat, 23% of users on TikTok actually search for something within 30%, within 30 seconds of opening TikTok, which is crazy, right? Like you open TikTok and the first thing people do is just go in to actually look and see things on search. So ultimately why? The more you focus on it, the more you get found. So the more views you have, and depending on what you're doing and what you're pushing, that could mean more traffic for your business. That could mean more sales down the line. Who knows? It depends what it's all about. And TikToks appear on Google. This is something that is happening ever so increasingly over time as well. But Google is pulling in particular TikTok videos into Google searches, typically very long tail searches. But again, it's another area for you to get found if your whole role is about SEO for the website and everything else like that. This is really interesting. And it just, you never know where it's going to end with Google. Google could rip this up very, very quickly. You're also seeing Google integration into TikTok at the same time. It's all a bit weird. It's a bit all over the place. But right now, TikTok's appear on Google. And just again, for anybody who doesn't understand it, right, this is the curly hair routine. Now, I'm thinking about this all the time, my curly hair routine. On Google, you can see right now there are 1,300 monthly searches that happen, right? If I search on Google, I've got curly hair routine on the right-hand side. Now, if you search for this on TikTok at the moment, you will see this on the left-hand side and it gives you all the drop downs of everything else. You'll see the curly hair routine for beginners, for products, all of this. Then obviously you'll see all of these videos and you can see them. This is me scrolling through my traditional curly haired routine wash I look at every single 30 seconds when I open it up on TikTok. And then from there, you click on the one that is relevant to you, right? This is a great example of SEO in action for a popular TikTok search term. Somebody searched for it, you've seen all of these videos and you've clicked on this as well. And we will go into how this works and all of this stuff, but fundamentally, that is how TikTok SEO works. You search, you find a video, you watch the video. Happy days, right? But I think from a business perspective or even a creator's perspective, you need to start at the very beginning, which is who are you targeting on the platform? And what talk are you supposed to be sitting in? Because we could sit here all day and come up with loads of fun video ideas for a brand, but it might have absolutely zero relevance to what they're actually producing. It might have zero relevance to the business themselves. And we asked at the very beginning about what talk you guys might be sitting in. And we always ask this question to people because from a brand's perspective, you need to be thinking about who are you targeting on the platform, right? It's really tricky to target loads of disparate amount of talks and people. If you take me, for an example, I sit in Dachshund Talk because I've got a Dachshund. I sit in Paddle Talk because I play paddle and I'm interacting a lot with that. I sit in like a weird football talk for Union Berlin, the football team here, and like a weird marketing, like funny sketches and stuff like this. And basically all videos that Al Nash does, who's my favorite creator at the moment. Like those are the four things I typically see. A few months ago, I was sitting in the Crown parody talk where people were doing these sketch parodies about the scene from the Crown where he's like Camilla like this, and that was like the weird area of TikTok I'm in. And I got stuck in merchants chip shop talk recently and all of this type of stuff. But what I'm getting at is your business will have a collection of spaces that are most relevant to you. And when you're doing SEO, you want to start from here to understand what words you're going to be consistently using to target said talk, and then to be able to go, right, what words fit in from an SEO perspective. And you will see this in a minute, right? We've got a whole webinar we did once on how to find the right talk. I think it's about 18 months old, but it is still relevant today. We're probably going to do a follow up to this one, but we will send the link through for it if you want to just hear a bit more about this, because it can get quite complex and you need to think about it. But I think this is a great way to start for anything with any SEO strategy itself. So how do you do it in a 2025? This is just like a little engine for how you start, right? And what you need to be thinking about. And we're going to go through each of these things. So you start with keyword research. You want to integrate it into your content. You want to be engaging, get your content to be engaging, and you want to engage with people around. You want your profile optimized, which a lot of people forget about. And you want to analyze what's actually happening, because any good strategy is great until you actually do it. And then you need to see what's happening and optimize around that. We'll come through this. So let's start with what TikTok understands search to be. Now, on the right-hand side, you've got an example here from a video that's ranking for study tips, basically a study-based video that you can see on here. And there is no, it's not 100%. TikTok don't release every single thing about it, but there's assumptions that can be made here. So the biggest thing TikTok uses to understand why something should be put where it is on search is the keywords that are being used in the video. And I'm going to go through all of these in a bit more depth in a minute. But TikTok looks at what it knows about a video primarily from what people are putting in the video itself. So the title they're using, what captions they have, the hashtags, all of that type of good stuff. And that will help it quickly understand, right, this is a video about football. It says football. There's a football in it. It's got football as a hashtag. I know I should probably be surfacing this up in the football algorithm that's currently on there as well. But then TikTok also looks at things like the audio that's being used. It looks at what things are being tagged. Maybe it's location tagged as well. It looks at things as well in terms of the performance. This is a massive thing for it. You're not really going to find videos that are ranking really well with 200 views, typically. Some of them you might, but typically TikTok will be looking at both how relevant it is for a search, but actually are people interacting with that video itself? When they watch the video, what is the watch time? When they watch the video, are they saving it? Are they sharing it? Does it feel like a useful piece of content? So TikTok uses these metrics to help understand it. It will look at things probably, and I'm guessing here because this is how Google's work, it will probably be looking at the click-through rate it sees people have on a search as well. So if we go back a few steps here, for example, the videos that are getting a better click-through rate, because you can see your click-through rate now, the videos are getting a better click-through rate on here will probably surface up a bit higher than the ones above that have a lower click-through rate as well. So what you're starting to see with videos as well, what is your thumbnail and how good is that to help generate clicks when it's in the video itself, which is like an age-old thing in SEO with your meta titles and all of this type of stuff. But now you're seeing this start to surface up within TikTok as well. Let's start with keywords, because this is like fundamental 101 for TikTok SEO, right? You've got 6 areas I think are the right areas to be focusing on, and it's where to put them. And I will preface this with what you don't want to do with any TikTok SEO strategy, and this goes for any SEO strategy, is don't try and black hat this. And that's not why I'm wearing a black hat, but basically don't try and do this dodgily. Don't try and put 1,000 keywords in to trick Google. Don't try and hide your keywords on the side and do all of these particular things. That's all risky. It doesn't really help. Remember, you want your content to be relevant, to be engaging, and to naturally lead to where TikTok finds it as well. There may be some people you'll see who are like, yeah, put loads of stuff in, put white text and all of this, but it will get found out by TikTok eventually. Even if it does work, it's not worth doing. Do it properly. So let's start from the beginning. On-screen text. You start from here. If we've got an idea of the keywords we want to target, and I'm going to use study talk, for example, here. If I'm a brand and I want to target students with a student tip-based video, the on-screen text that you use is the most important thing that you can start with, right? The title that you use. This is all readable by TikTok. TikTok crawls every single video to see what's in there. TikTok can even see text that's put in a video that hasn't originated in TikTok. However, I would recommend you use the native TikTok functionality when creating your text on the screen. That might mean you might have to sacrifice brand fonts or stuff like this. But actually what you want to make sure is that you've typed in all of your stuff on TikTok itself to make sure that TikTok can crawl it, they can see it, they can understand it. And then you want to make sure, obviously, that it pretty much matches the keywords that you're targeting. Now, that might not be one for one, but pretty similar to this. So you can see this is appearing for study tips, but it says student secrets exactly. It's kind of a bridged version of this here as well. but make sure you've used stuff on screen in your titles that basically are relevant to that search that you're going after. So we start there before we do anything. Then what you speak actually can be heard by TikTok. So if you're targeting an area, you want to make sure that what you're saying in the video actually is targeting the talk that you have. Now, you don't want to try, like I said, black hatting stuff where you just go like, I want to target study tips. I'm just going to have it in a title and it's got nothing to do with it. You want to make sure that your video is actively about the topic and you're mentioning the terms throughout there, sprinkled in within it. TikTok can understand it. TikTok picks up words. It understands all of that type of stuff. And then your captions. I'm just going to shamelessly plug my TikTok, brands on TikTok. That's me on there. Babe. This video got 1.5 million views. And the reason I'm putting it on here is that 12% of those views are coming from search at the moment. I'm going to do some very quick maths. That's something like 150,000 views, right? Not world breaking, but I'm constantly still getting views from this because people are searching for Duolingo calendar, Duolingo controversy. I don't know why so many Canada ones. There isn't a Duolingo calendar brand, but I talked about, I think, Duolingo and the calendar in this one. But you can see here the captions that I've put on talking about this at the bottom. Duolingo, that matches it all the way through. It's picked this up. So it's both what I'm saying and then the captions are just also picking that up at the same time. So might go without saying, a lot of people use captions. Some people don't use them at all. So make sure that you use your captions and that they are matching what you're speaking about, but also obviously they start from keywords at the beginning. And in your description as well, it's an example from SEMrush. This is ranking for the term digital marketing. You can see obviously the title has got digital marketing in, but also you've got digital marketing in the caption. So again, where can your keyword fit in naturally in your caption? Now, captions now can be absolutely huge. When I say caption, sorry, I mean description. Descriptions can be absolutely massive. You can build a whole essay within there as well. And a lot of people do this and they start kind of keyword stuffing. So again, just remember what you do, make it feel natural, make it feel engaging. No one wants to read the world's biggest description, right? Just use what you can to make it bring it to life. So think about your descriptions, put them in there. And then your hashtags, this is a great area as well. Make sure that you are targeting the right hashtag for said keyword that you've got on and maybe some extra more long tail things as well. So again, this is another video that ranks on digital marketing at the moment. This guy with his digital marketing guide, he's got digital marketing in there as a hashtag as well. So on screen, spoken, captions, description, hashtags. Might feel simple, but that is the easiest point to get your videos to rank. You start from that. But then there's also your profile. And a lot of people forget this, and it's not right for every brand. But if you go on, when you search stuff, a lot of people won't just look at the videos, they will go straight to the users. And digital marketing is a great area to look at because all the people ranking for digital marketing at the moment have got digital marketing in their name in some respects, right? Every single person on that list has got digital marketing either in the user or in their name itself on there as well. So think about where that might be relevant. It might be a topic that you have. It might be the brand that you have, you're just trying to surface up for and search. And then your bio itself as well. That helps too. This guy's got simplifying digital marketing in here, simply digital. It is like old school SEO where people had URLs, which is like Chinese restaurant near you as their fucking name or something like that. It's like old school. Maybe it won't be around forever, but right now, make sure your profile has some of your key terms in if that's something you want to rank for. And if you really want to go hardcore, change your name as well to kind of match that too. And remember, you can only change your name, I think, once every 30 days or something as well. So you can't just keep whittling through them as you go. So that's basically the keywords thing. What we'll just look at now is how to choose your keywords, right? Maybe we should have started from here at the beginning. But like I said, the talk that you're in is really, really important. You want to know your audience and what they're actually doing on this platform at the moment. Find that talk, and again, watch this other webinar that we've done about this, how that works in practice. And then start searching on TikTok and Google. We'll talk about creative search insights in a minute. If you're not already looking at that, that's a fantastic area. But TikTok only releases relatively limited data at the moment about search behavior on TikTok currently. There are creative search insights, but that is limited in the actual information that you have from there. Google is probably the best place to still understand search behavior. Now, you can't take it as a 1-1 in terms of what happens on Google happens on TikTok, but it's going to be relatively close in how people search, particularly around long tail searches. So if you've got things like Google's Keyword Planner, it's a great place just to look at typical searches. If you have an SEO team, speak to them about what you're currently targeting. Or actually, if you have nobody in your business doing that, which a lot of brands we speak to don't have that, then do your own keyword research on Google or look at tools like SEMrush and then look on TikTok with those said searches and see what's appearing on TikTok for when you search as well. A couple of things in terms of what type of concept works really, really well. So, like I said there, questions that answer people's typical searches. Now, some people might, let's take digital marketing for an example. Some people might just type in digital marketing, but it's quite a primary keyword. It's not necessarily like you're searching for anything unless you're really trying to like go deep into that area of the TikTok. But people might be more likely to type in digital marketing strategy or best digital marketing tips or stuff like that, or how to do digital marketing, like you can see in this example on this one. So your content you're pushing in SEO primarily should be thinking about question-based responses or other topics that are working quite well. So what we're seeing at the moment is that reviews are really good because a lot of people search for like review of the new iPhone as an example. What is works really well. What is TikTok SEO? People search that. How to style a coat, how to make this dinner, how to do a curly haired routine. Again, what I'm looking for all the time. Which X should you buy? Like which protein is best for bulking? Obviously, big buff guy here, always checking that out. Things to paint on a canvas, all of this type of stuff. Top X list, top 5 snacks for under £2. My routine, local guides, like that's huge. Where to go in like Bristol, where to go in Berlin, all of these particular places, like local SEO is like massive at the moment on TikTok. So these are the formats we see working the best right now, but that's always changing. It's always shifting. So have a look at this. But like I mentioned earlier, if your video is shit, this stuff is all a moot point. Because you can try and just get videos to rank, but if they have got crap watch time or rubbish engagement, they're very unlikely to rank. And there's exceptions to the rule, but typically your videos need to be good, not perfect, but they need to be good enough that TikTok, the videos that are seeing them are going to watch them, engage with them, and actually it does well, right? So the more videos and engagement the video has, the better chance of it ranking. Take that as a as a semi-fact right here. So we use this quite a lot in the moment. It's not 100%, right? TikTok does not release the full algorithm, but from what they tell us and what you see around, now also there's no point system, whoever put that out there, shut up. But this is roughly how the algorithm works, and you can take it from this. You post something, it goes out to a small audience on TikTok. That is why we talk about tox, right? Your videos will go out typically between 200 to 500 viewers. That's what most people will see on the platform. If you've got a really highly engaged audience who are constantly seeing your videos, that will be higher. But typically, the majority of platform users will see their videos get pushed out to an area of TikTok. And then TikTok will look at what's happening, what the response time is to that. So are people watching that? How long are they watching it for? How do they engage with it? And it will use that to go, this feels like a good video. We will push it out a little bit further, and the engagement and views just continue. And then maybe they stop and that's it. And maybe it gets pushed up further and you achieve the level of virality, right? So you need to just be thinking about this. Is my video engaging? Is my video generating watch time that I've got? And we're doing a whole thing about this in the next webinar that we're doing on the 24th, which is all about how to create a winning TikTok strategy for organic. So we will be talking about that then. So I don't want to talk too much about that yet. I mentioned this before, keywords feel organic, not stuffed. Don't take all of this that your keywords are really important and then just like blast keywords all over the place. Make sure you're focusing on like one or two for the video, and that's what you're putting out. Don't try and just make it sound like digital marketing, digital marketing, digital marketing everywhere. It just won't work very well. And we're back to dogs, right? So creator search insights. Hands up, anyone using creator search insights. And by hands up, I mean just put in the chat, please. This is like my favorite thing ever, but it's not perfect. But if you don't know creator search insights, get on TikTok right now and have a little look for this. All you do to find it, weird it's this way. I don't know why, but I think you can also get it in TikTok Studio app now as well. But you just go onto TikTok and you search creator search insights and you will find it there and you'll be able to see basically various things about your profile and popular searches that are currently on there as well. So this is an example here. You can see on this one, you've got, this is more like a travel-based account, but you can see like take a trip, I want to travel, rhinestone cars, and then you can go in and basically see each particular keyword and the popularity and how many searches are happening on that. Now, I preface this because what it's not showing is every single search on the platform right now. It's showing the most relevant searches and the most specific stuff that's currently happening. And what you've got to think about with TikTok creator search insights is a lot of times this can be dictated by what's happening on the platform itself. When a video goes viral, you will see a lot of searches around that. So the Ashton Hall trend, right? It was obviously a huge search that was happening, which would have both happened from people just coming on the platform, checking it out, but also when people were on the video, there would have been a little search functionality where more people were searching things off the back of that as well. So sometimes it can be very much dictated by virality on the platform as well. So you'll get these crazy spikes for videos where suddenly they're a bit just up in the search terms for there on there, but use that as like a thing that you need to be checking consistently all the time. And I'd say this again, everybody's creator search insights is completely unique. Look at yours now and look at these. These are free accounts that I have access to. One in the middle is one of my football accounts, and you can see it's got all of these football ideas for me to post. This one's a travel one. I can't actually remember what this one is. I think it's like a beauty brand that we have. So they're all completely different. So you will see something that is unique and bespoke to your brand and your account that TikTok thinks are the most relevant searches for you. Now, again, this is why it's yes, personal to your account. That's my understanding. Like I said, these are three different ones here. So you will see, and also just to preface, I know we've got a lot of Europeans. This doesn't seem to be in every single country. When I was in the Netherlands in October, you couldn't access CSI from there, which was really annoying. So I think it's in most countries now, but it might not be in a couple. But you will see on here basically your own bespoke stuff. And when we talked about talks at the beginning, this is partly why as well. What TikTok understands about what you're posting helps TikTok learn about your creator search insights effectively. The more this account, I have an account which is like Sam's POV about football. And this is basically all the stuff I'm posting is like crowd reactions at football games I go to. And it knows this about this. It showcases me like ultras and like football fans and all of this type of stuff. And so it gives me ideas for that type of stuff, which is super great. What you will see on some accounts is that TikTok just doesn't really understand what your account is about. So it doesn't necessarily know what to put up to you. It might be a very relatively disjointed account and view that TikTok has of your profile. So make sure that your account feels like it's in a spot, in a top, in a space, and all of that type of stuff as well. You can see things like searches by followers, but I think you only see that after 10,000 followers and everything else on this as well. But yeah, unique to you. And then you can see your demographics. And this is another area I think is really important because you can get a little bit carried away by looking at one video and going, oh my God, this is hyper relevant. So, Melina, Americans react to loud noise in Europe. This was a very popular video, I think, on my football feed. And you see here, 154,000 searches have happened here. But what I'd encourage everybody to do, because you can also see the demographics, you can see where this is landing. For some reason, lots of older people were really interested in this. It was more popular with the over 45s than it was with the 18 to 25s. You can imagine maybe it's popular with Americans, whatever. And it's way more popular with females than it was with males. But the interesting thing here is you can see country breakdowns. And I think this is really important to check before you start taking too many decisions, because what you may find is that some of the countries where this is popping off are completely irrelevant to what you want to be surfacing up. So you might have a video that, I don't know, for some reason has really, really popped off in Nigeria, because I think that's one of the countries that does have access on here. And it's popped off in Nigeria, and that's where all the views are coming from. And is that the reality of your audience? Is that what you want to focus your time and energy on? So double check and sense check the locality of where this stuff is happening. Now, again, it doesn't have every single country at the moment. This is why you constantly have to be checking Creator Search Insights to understand, has this got this new functionality in? Because the demographics is relatively recent as well. And they've got new things at the moment, which is why they actually tell you how to get this video to basically work and to basically rank, which is crazy, right? This is for take a trip. It gives ideas from top posts, like highlight fun moments and scenic views, suggested title and hashtag, suggested script. This is insane, right? This is absolutely wild. Like, there's so much stuff TikTok is giving you. Again, take it with a pinch of salt, put your own spin on it. You've got to remember you've got 150,000 people who are searching this, and there's probably a lot of other people having a little look at this as well and coming up with the same idea. So put your own spin on it. This also got related topics. It's just crazy. It gives so much detail. I love it. Create Search Insights is great, but it does need to keep improving. So keep it out there. And then it takes time to rank, right? Some videos will just pop off and they're there and they rank and it's great, happy days. But the half-life of a video on TikTok is all over the place. It used to be you posted something and you would see in the first day, maybe a few days, whether or not this video is going to achieve its critical mass that it needs. Now you're seeing some videos that, they bomb, they do absolutely nothing, and then they just start taking off, and 3 or 4 months later, for whatever reason, TikTok's categorized them. Or perhaps it's become a popular search on TikTok that was not yet a popular search. What I said earlier about a video popping off, causing other videos to kind of fluctuate within the algorithm. This is an example we've got from one client where actually the views had started 3 months later, and then they started picking up, and now they've remained relatively consistent. And we've seen on some that they pick up like this, and then they start dropping down as well, because I imagine other videos are outranking them. Like TikTok will look at things in terms of views and engagement, but they're probably looking at more recent videos within there as well to give it a metric about what to surface up. TikTok doesn't want users to just be like locked in with content from 2022, for example. So what I would say with anything is anything that you post, don't delete it. Keep it there. You never know when it's going to be picking up video views, and look at your analytics each month and go like, oh, I've got some videos that are picking up some views. This is quite interesting. So keep that there. Never write everything off. It can always win another day, which also makes investment into TikTok quite fun and long term. Good times, eh? And search ads, this is the next level. This is the next level, I'd say. It's out live in America. Well, we've used it for a couple of clients, but for the UK, it's not fully out yet. But CSI basically gives you like live platform data. Search ads then is something that you can use to actively do almost like keyword level research that you would get in Google itself, like through a keyword planner. They have the equivalent of keyword suggestions. And you can see here, this is what I used for a card game based thing. And actually, I think this is TikTok's one, but I've used it for different things. But you can basically see the monthly searches rather than the daily searches. And it gives options then for basically utilizing TikTok search ads, which are basically like the PPC equivalent of TikTok, where your videos will appear with a search button over the top of them. So now users are going to be thinking about both. And sorry, now TikTok brands and everything else like this, we need to be thinking about how our videos are surfacing organically, but also how they're going to be surfacing for an ad as well. And I talked about this very briefly at the beginning. Your thumbnails are going to become so important because your videos have to stand out, probably also in a sea of ads soon as well. So how can your video stand out to feel hyper relevant for somebody who searched card game or how to win this card game? That it says it quite clearly in the video itself on the label. I wonder if we'll end up in like a horrible place like YouTube, where you've got like all these absolutely mental like YouTube thumbnails of Mr. Beast going like, "Oh no, I can't believe this thing that happened." Like, is that where we're going to end up on TikTok? I've not seen many people do those thumbnails, but that could be where we're going with this. So it's one to absolutely watch. But when this fully comes over, I think you'll start seeing search pattern behavior get better understood on TikTok, because you should, in theory, see full live data for TikTok searches rather than just select things that come through. So think about how this can integrate into organic once it's live. And how do you know it's working, right? A really simple way, just look at what's being searched for at the top. TikTok puts the bar up there. Sometimes they put like key popular searches that are happening at the very bottom. But you can just see and search directly on TikTok and see where you're ranking. But you see within Creator Search Insights and also your analytics now as well of what positions you're in and everything else. So this, for an example, I don't know why it's loaded like that, but this is a video we have for one of our community's Birmingham updates, and it ranks for the term Birmingham. And it's got, oh God knows, I can't remember how many actual views it's got here, but it's got 444,000 search views that this one has got. And this is, like I said earlier, this is answering a question, or like it's a long tail based thing. 3 things you should never do in Birmingham. And it's ranked so well. And this is from 2 years ago, this video. It still picks up consistent searches throughout this as well. So Yeah, sorry, there you go. Keywords. I put them all in the wrong place. So you can see the keyword there, you see the title, you see all of that type of stuff. And then the keyword up here, it's thinking it's things to do in Birmingham. So it's picking up some of those stuff. So this is actually ranking for loads of queries. You can see 24% of this, Cypher Birmingham, Birmingham, UK, lots of random stuff as well. 1.1 million views. Thank you. And then this as well in the analytics, you can see basically the viewer types, the average watch time, the top words that are used in the comments. It just gives you a bigger breakdown to how a video is performed. But look at the videos that you have that are picking up searches to understand what they're ranking for, because this should hopefully inform other videos. If this one here is start picking stuff up, then we need to be thinking about how else we can rank on Birmingham and stuff like that as well. So don't use it as one thing where that's just it. I've got one video to rank. You should use that as how do I dominate the search platform? How do I find these other searches that are happening? So all the way back to the beginning again, search in 2025, right? You do your keyword research. You want to integrate it more naturally into your content, create engaging content that generates views, that generates engagement. You also want to be engaging in the space that you've got, replying in the comments as well. That helps drive further engagement, further watch time, and all of this type of stuff. There's another hack that I've heard, which I don't know how much I agree with, but actually you can kind of help TikTok understand what's in the video by seeding some comments in the video itself on the video itself. So a video about Birmingham, you might just start typing in various things about Birmingham, and TikTok will know this is about Birmingham. But these are like kind of like small black hat hacks I'd be a bit careful of. But if lots of people are talking about the subject in the video itself, TikTok will be able to better understand and match that subject as well. So engaging with the audience that's already engaging, very important. Optimize your profile, like I said earlier as well, and analyze everything you're doing, right? Look at the content that's ranking. Look at the content that's not ranking. This is a good example of it, right? This is ranking. It's got a good average watch time for what it is, right? The video is 26 seconds long. The average watch time is 12.7. That's very, very high. Nearly 50% of people are watching it. People are basically watching 50% of the video. A lot of videos have like a 1 or 2% watch time. So look closely at the stuff that is doing well. How can you optimize it more? How can you take those learnings from an organic perspective and get your videos to just pop off and do better long term? Like I said, we're going to be doing one on organic strategy where we'll cover that a little bit more. But that is basically the core aspects that we know about SEO. And you need to make this an essential part of it because lots of people are. And fundamentally, a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people don't get it. And it's all well and good saying, here's how you do it, but you actually have to put it into practice and you have to be quite flexible and you have to work with it on the long term. You can't just go, here's my SEO strategy, and the next day everything's ranking. It can take months. You know, do that graph of 3 months and everything else like this. It could take ages. Normal SEO is such a long time game. And TikTok SEO is looking very much in there. And it's shifting all the time. Patterns are changing, the algorithm's changing. You're seeing different things happen all the time. So you need to be on top of this massively. But thank you. That is our guide to how to do TikTok SEO. And I will stop sharing my screen now.
Very nice. That was a whistle stop tour to all things SEO. Thank you so much, Sam. We do have some questions. So we are now in the Q&A portion, guys, if you haven't noticed. So please feel free to populate the Q&A and the chat wherever you'd like to pop them in. But I'm going to start with the ones that have already come across in the chat. Excuse me. So you did answer that one already. So when it comes to the platform itself, are there any that you know of external tools? We saw one, somebody typed in keywordtool.io, but are there any other external tools that you know of that could help build the strategy or give insights here at all?
There is no tool on the market that gives what TikTok, the full TikTok search data that I understand. Now, it might have changed recently, but there currently should not be a full API link into TikTok. TikTok doesn't even release this themselves, right? Unless there is a TikTok thing that is there is a tool that goes into TikTok's creator search insights. So any tool on the market, there are definitely some out there, will be done via Google search data, maybe like YouTube trends and other things like this. Now, there are plenty on the market that exist. Google's keyword planner is super easy to use. SEMrush is good too. There are others out there. I can see keyword tool being linked as well, but I don't know. Yeah. So like I haven't used Keyword Tool or other things like that. I've used Google Keyword Planner quite a lot and SEMrush is. Be interested if anyone else has got any recommendations here. But I know we will share the slides as well. Yeah, I know we've looked at how can we kind of build something like this as well. It's such a tricky thing with TikTok's API on it as well. And the brand that manages to crack it will have a great time until TikTok releases all the data themselves. TikTok is so good at building tools functionality for this type of stuff. And what they've done with Create Such Insights, I think is basically where they want to house a lot of this stuff at the moment. But use any tool that basically helps you understand Google keyword search volumes. I think it's the closest thing that you've got. I can't remember, there were some others that I saw regarding like helping how you build like YouTube titles and stuff like this. But any tools that are out there that help you understand what questions are commonly asked online and things, that's another great way. But whatever you see from data over here, just type it into TikTok, have a look at what's happening, have a look at what's ranking. When you start typing in, does it populate all of these searches for you as well? That's a really interesting way of seeing it, but you only see so much directly from TikTok.
Yeah, I think it's just think about search behavior and how it's been up until this point. Obviously, TikTok is a new-ish platform when it comes to this particular function, but think about search behavior on the likes of YouTube and Google and how you go about optimizing for that. It is very similar. It's just video based now. So just keep that in mind. Were you going to say something else?
I just said that keyword, so I looked at that. That's like an auto keyword auto complete. It's a very similar thing. Yeah, that's a good one to look at.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. There's a question specifically about there's a rumor going around saying that you should replace hashtags with words at the end of your caption. And I also saw another question about hashtags in general. So is there a difference between hashtags versus just general text when it comes to SEO?
I think it's like some creators have this view that hashtags are pointless, and typically those creators are already quite big themselves. And they've reached the critical mass on TikTok, I think, where their videos are already going out to such a big audience and they're getting such great engagement naturally because of who they are and people recognize them that they don't even need to use any sort of real optimization that kind of comes across stuff. And similar with brands, right? I don't think Duolingo will use many hashtags to kind of position their content. But hashtags are like a signal, right, that you're teaching TikTok about. I think of everything that we put on that list, which was like 7 ways of finding a keyword. Description is one way, hashtag is another. They should work together. What you don't want to do is overload either one. Like I would start with your description, nail that because that's the first thing people are going to read as well. That helps. No one's really going directly into a hashtag necessarily. A few people are, but it's just another quantifier to help. I'd probably put it on lower ranking in terms of importance, but yeah, that would be my view. Still use them, don't overload them.
So what do you mean by overload? Would there be like an average, minimum, maximum number of hashtags
I'd
you
put like
would?
three to five, I would say, 3 to 5. But I've seen some videos like with crazy virality that had like 10, 12 hashtags, right? There's exceptions to everything. Play around, see what happens. You might have a video that pops off with 0 hashtags and be like, well, I don't need to do hashtags anymore. And then just see what happens. See if your
Yeah.
videos continue to rank that way. And then happy days, you've cracked your area of TikTok and it's working really well. But everybody's different. The algorithm works in mysterious ways.
It
It's a bit of a
does.
cop out, but
And
yeah.
it also changes all the time as well. Once you think you figured it out, they introduce something new or change it a little bit. So
Oh,
you got to
massively.
it'll just keep you on your toes, but this is what we understand so far. We also have a question about search terms and how you can see which ones you're being discovered for the most. I know you can do it for individual videos. You showed screenshots of that, but can you do it for an entire account? Like if you go into your account's
It's only
CSI.
TikTok.
Yeah.
No, it's really annoying. This is functionality I think they need to be building in a bit better, but they don't give you like this core snapshot, which is here is all the top searches that you're currently appearing for right now. It is you have to kind of have a look at what your search performance is. You have to have a look at your wider TikTok analytics and the views that you're picking up, and then kind of match them up. It will change. I think in a couple of months, you'll see an easy kind of drop down into like, here are all the things that I'm currently ranking for and what they are. But right now, today, it's not giving that. It's just literally like, here's an example from one of my accounts. So I've just got like search performance and and views and impressions. And here's the other thing as well, like your percentage search views, your average click-through rate, I think is super interesting data. But I have to then go in there and be like, which ones were they? I can see the videos they were on here, but I can't see what the terms were. But then I can go into them. Like you can see actually here a little bit. Sorry. So that you can see for like your top five if they're appearing. This is one like travel video I did. So some of them is already changing. That wasn't there recently. So just keep on having a look. It's not a simple way to just find it all though.
Yeah. And that kind of goes into the next question because there's a question about is there a dashboard to analyze your search terms you're ranking on, or are you just using TikTok Studio and analytics?
Yeah, mixture of TikTok Studio and analytics ultimately.
Definitely. So as of right now, there is no platform for that, but that's not to say it won't change and something will be introduced
Yeah, if
hopefully
someone
very
can build
soon.
that, that'd be really good.
Yeah, any developers on the call, please. Um, Happy to work with you as well. Give you our insights on that.
Yeah, but check
Um,
but check CSI all the time, right? It changes all the time. They're constantly updating it. So like this functionality may well be in next month, which is why building a tool feels like a massive risk because I feel like they're just taking the knees out of it before it's already ready.
yeah, absolutely. We have a question because you mentioned a little bit about the algorithm and how it works, and especially how SEO can play into that. So we have a question from Eleanor about the test audience, that 200 to 300 viewers. Should you tailor your post time to make sure that those 200 or so viewers engage from the offset?
What, so should you be using a post time to make that kind of chance
Yeah,
work a bit better? Yeah, I think it is sensible, right? It's sensible to think who is online right now who is going to see this video? Is it my optimal time for somebody post? If I post this video right now, are my 2 to 300 going to be the right people that are going to see it there and then? That doesn't mean that you should always be led and followed by the same time. And I think you can get locked into viewing like my best time for one post that I had that went viral was 7 p.m. So I have to put everything at 7 p.m. Typically, the best content should just work regardless of when it got posted. But it's an extra factor, right? How many people in this room just mindlessly go on TikTok in the middle of the day? Right? I naturally will just be like, okay, I'm on TikTok and I browse through, right? And you wouldn't think that my natural time might be for 2:30 p.m. on the particular stuff. So don't rule out times during the day, don't rule out morning times, afternoon times. Always think, right, my audience is probably always going to be on in the morning and the evening more than anything else. But that's also when every other creator is posting. That's when any other brand is posting. So find something that works for you and kind of fits within it, but make it as optimum as possible. But don't be like it's only going to work if I post this at 10 a.m. and everyone sees it. Because remember the graph I showed, like stuff that doesn't work immediately will take a little bit of time to drive engagement and suddenly appear. So it's not all lost if it doesn't just do really well straight away.
definitely. Definitely. And then we have a question about kind of how you would plan in advance. So I know you mentioned that things kind of change, and um, even on your video that you just showed right now, those search terms weren't necessarily there a week ago. I don't know when you last checked. But when you plan content and copy, should you be doing this a month in advance based on this data? Like if we were to plan a May content calendar, for example.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at from like a both take like a brand strategy aspect, right? You're starting out from the beginning, like what are my core keywords that I'm going after? And that's like your subset that you're like, these are my target terms that I want to appear for things to do in Birmingham. I'm a Birmingham brand and I want to appear in this. And that's like my big kind of hero keyword I'm always going to go after. But then every single month, you will probably be doing some slightly different, disparate content that match within it. So refresh everything at the beginning of the month to be like, what has actually happened on CSI? Is there anything interesting? Is TikTok giving me any information right now that I could use to come up with some different ideas? Like start with there and have a little look what comes up with. Like I might decide I need to do an American ultras versus European ultras on my football account. I don't know, maybe because that's currently had a massive spike 5 days ago. That might be something on there. But I'd also just let before you post anything, double check, sense check, have a quick look and search what's currently on there at the moment. Has search terms changed? What else is going on? Use CSI and just sense check before you do anything. But at the bare minimum, every month, check CSI, and see if there's any new ideas. Because also, it's great for just ideation. How many times can you do the same content over and over? If your own account or a brand account, like it's just good to come up with different topics. And like if there's something that works for you on there, have a look at the related videos, have a look at the explore more topics. It will just help spur creativity.
Absolutely. They're just making it easier for us because they want the content to be good and helpful, and whatever they can do to spur the content, they will do. So, again, I'm sure there will be many more tools introduced in due time. So, we have another question about balancing this SEO aspect of content and just overall good social content. So, I know you're saying check it every month, but and also at the end of the day, if the content's not great, it's just not going to perform. So what is that ideal balance from your perspective of how to use them together to get the best performance?
Um, Use it to really, I think it really does also depend on your brand strategy. Like TikTok SEO is way easier if you're being led or if you're doing quite like an educational useful strategy for forming around like how to's, what's this, explainer based content. That's great. Like that should be at the forefront of everything that you do. If your brand is and your account is inherently entertaining, then there's only so much you can really do to weave in. So be selective with your SEO. Don't let every single content that you do be like dominated by having to weave in the search term. And just do it if it's relevant. Like I think about your talk and the space that you want to be in, but you don't have to like ham in every single video with every single keyword and everything that you've got on there. If a video doesn't feel like it's got a natural search term within there, don't worry about it. Just post it and see how it does. It might help drive other search behavior. It might help drive up your other videos that you've got within there. Every account's unique. Everything's a little bit bespoke. So do what feels natural. But start with something, I'd say. Start with an idea about what your primaries are.
Absolutely. And then more on the technical side, does it make a difference if the text is added in app or elsewhere? Because obviously, I mean, even internally, we work with clients where they want a specific brand color or brand font that's not necessarily in TikTok. So, what's the recommended? And then if you can't do it, what's your workaround?
The always recommended is do it within TikTok. There's two reasons for that. There's two reasons. One, it's more crawlable than any other way. CapCut is an interesting one because you can do an integration with it, and I think that's pretty close as well in terms of how it works. But that's more crawlable than other areas. But TikTok can view text from other just from a general video that gets uploaded. It can understand what's in there as well. So that is important. It doesn't write it off, but you're going to have a better chance, I think, in terms of ranking if you do it natively. The second aspect for it is the more native TikTok fonts look, the more natural it looks to a TikTok user. The more organic it looks, the more authentic it looks. The more you make it look really heavily branded and outside of the TikTok aspect, is less chance of feeling authentic and driving engagement and all this type of stuff on there. But there are exceptions to every single rule. There are plenty of videos that have gone out with no text on at all. There are videos that are appearing to search volume that's based on maybe what people are saying. There are videos that have been like created with probably the most disgusting brand fonts ever that have gone viral, right? Exceptions to every single rule. Think about the bulk of your content, what you can do. Try where you can to put things within TikTok, but it's not always achievable. We know this, right? Like if you're doing 50 videos for a brand, some of that stuff may have to be done on a different platform, and then maybe just the titles are done. I think if you're going to do one thing, make sure your titles are there. TikTok's editor now is ridiculous. You can get things to look pretty close to a branded font if you want one there. It used to just be like black and white text, but there's loads of functionality that's built into it as well. And some accounts use like crazy animation and all of this, and you're starting to see that work a bit more. But yeah, where you can, you're going to have a better chance for success putting stuff directly within TikTok. And TikTok would also probably say, maybe you should record stuff within TikTok. You've got a better chance of success then. But look at the data. God knows, right? If you ask every single brand in the world what percentage of this was filmed in TikTok versus not, which title was made in TikTok versus CapCut versus other places, it's difficult to know fully. We know from what we've seen, better chance of success via working directly within TikTok. We've seen videos
Definitely.
just immediately go from that to that with stuff that we've done directly within TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. We've repurposed and tested, and TikTok is not an exact science. Like Sam has said, there's an exception to pretty much every rule, and even those rules are quite flexible to begin with. So, what we just want to kind of lay out there is this is a guide for what we've seen and how it's helped us help content perform a little bit better. Um, but that's not to say that there aren't other ways of doing it. This is just what we see work best. So,
Yeah.
another thing is if you're pulling in content that needs to be edited off platform, you can use the likes of your description to help with those key terms. So there's still ways to incorporate it um, natively, but where possible, try and add the text in the app.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really important one just to reiterate, like highly recommend repurposing old content or content that you thought was going to do well and just trying something a little bit differently with it, both from just a standard organic perspective, but maybe there is a particular term that has now got really popular on CSI, and you go, I've got this really relevant video, but it wasn't quite positioned that way. Well, try and do maybe a slightly shorter cut, change the title that you've got on there, have a different caption, a different description. What you don't want to do is your TikTok feed to look like you've done like 50 videos just trying to do like A/B testing. But don't be afraid to just go like, that video should have done better. I'm just going to try and repost it slightly differently. Like we've done that with videos that maybe had like the slightest minutiae of change and they've just worked afterwards. So give it a go, try and see what happens with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that kind of goes back to a question that's been answered in the chat about if you go back and re-edit old posts, will this help? So you can only do that within 7 days.
Yeah, but you can change the
Absolutely.
location, I think,
Yeah.
for like 180, and they recommend to do that for location tagging, which is like another SEO tip that, depending on what you're doing, is super important. That helps TikTok understand things to do in Birmingham, it's in Birmingham, or things to do in this particular cafe, or that type of stuff.
Exactly. And but then when you're past that threshold, there's no one saying that you can't repost it with those updates
Yeah.
and change it again. So I know it's kind of weird to think about because you wouldn't necessarily do that, but we've seen some really great success just by changing the title that we added to a video. The first one might have gotten like 1,000 views and the next one got 100,000 views, for example. So definitely don't be afraid of using what you already have and just fixing it up a little bit.
Yeah, like I'll share something if I can get to this really, really quickly without making this so relatively awkward. But one of our clients, Urban Tandoor, they're this what do you call it? Indian restaurant. You may know
Yeah.
them. If you don't know them, have a little look. But this is an example. I put this on LinkedIn before. But this is the same video posted every single year with a slight tweak of it. And 2024 was 1.1 million. 2023 was 250K. The first year was 327. And that's only change we made to it is the title.
Yeah.
You can see. So just think about that with anything that you've got.
Absolutely. And again, use the creator search insights to help update that title. What's trending right now that's relevant to the content that you have, and how can you update it to work as best as possible? We are about 2 minutes in. So I guess, Sam, in terms of any lasting insights that you would like people to take away, what would be the number one thing that you would recommend for SEO strategy?
Oh God. Start with your keywords. Figure out what they are. Like if you're going to do anything at all, go into CSI, like look at your like speak to if you've got an SEO team, go speak to them, find out what's popular, what type of things are relevant, and then try and weave it into the content that you've got. And then check. Watch, check, analyze. So this is supposed to be one thing. It's really hard to just do one thing on here, one, but just optimize, look at your analytics, go for all of this one. But if you haven't done it, CSI, start there. Have a look, go in, understand what's currently working for you, what's not working, and just start getting some inspiration.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sam. We also are launching our Nonsensical Substack, and when we send out our webinar, we will be linking this through as well. And on this, we'll be including lots of guides, helpful things around SEO specifically, TikTok Shop, etc. So keep an eye out for that because if you joined, it will be in your inbox. And feel free to share. And we really, really hope to see you on the next one, which is going to be on April 24th about all things TikTok organic strategy. So you will also get the invite for that when we send things out. So keep an eye out, and we hope to see you very, very soon. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and I hope you have a great rest of your week and day and enjoy the sun while it's here. And if it's not there, I hope you get sun wherever you are.
Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing week.
Bye.